more stuff and things, and now we're using a real microphone, one that looks like the Faz Radio logo.
That is fire, man. You sound so amazing on this.
I am fire. My camera still sucks. I think I'm going to get another camera because everybody has complained to me about it.
Yeah, you do need a new camera, but that mic, man, you sound awesome on that thing. That is that was a huge addition.
Well, this was a Christmas present that I posted on the Faz Radio Discord the moment I opened it, actually. It comes with some sort of little device that comes with it there. This is an actual professional microphone. We might actually be professionals one day.
Well, all right. So I've been hinting at getting a new microphone now for a while. But I'll tell you what. After hearing you on this thing, I am after this show. I'm literally going to go directly after this show, and I'm going to get that Shure mic I've been eyeballing.
But with a different case. I have the Faz one, and you're getting a different one.
Yes, I'm getting a different one, but it's going to be a pro mic. This one sounds okay now that I got the processing software on it.
This is what I got: the Shure 520 Classic Collection.
That you sound amazing. There's no doubt about it.
But it says 55SH Series 2, whatever that means, on the microphone itself. Legendary performance. This thing cost some money too.
Oh, it did. Yeah, those ain't cheap.
So yeah, I tried. I actually have a fairly expensive camera. It's listed as a 4K AI webcam. You see, when I move, it tries to keep up with me a little bit, but it kind of sucks. This is a 4K camera. This does not look like a 4K image.
No, I'll send you some links for the DJI Osmo 3 and for the camera that I use, which is the Sony ZV-E10. And they are both fantastic cameras.
All right. Well, this is what I was using before. It's a Microsoft conference phone, the headphone.
You were using your Yeti for a while.
I was, and what's funny is you complain about the Yeti, and then I put on the conference phone, you'd be like, oh my God, you sound so much better.
Well, okay, well, you did. And I downloaded, I was using this Yeti for a long time without the processing software on it. And it as soon as I turned the processing software on and got it right, holy cow, you even complimented me on how I sounded deep and rich and all that. That's what I was looking for. So this has served well over time. I've had this for probably 3 years now. Yeah. I also have the same microphone that Zorro has. And I had that as my backup because my first Yeti broke. So I had to have something to use in between getting the Yeti fixed. And I use that for like the Discord calls and all that kind of stuff on my other computer. But I am definitely getting a Shure. We're going to step up. I got the camera earlier this year. And I'm really excited about where we're going with this.
All right. Yes, improving things slowly but surely. Let's see what else we got here. Have you listened to our politics show?
I did. I listened to it live. And while I am not a fan of politics and I don't do politics, I want to support you and Zorro doing the political show. So I did listen to it live, and the first 30 minutes I loved, no doubt. After that, I was kind of understanding myself along the lines of why I didn't want to be on the political show.
Well, okay, let me explain something. So the last Faz Politics show that we had, it was going pretty well. And my goal with those shows are, hey, I'm actually, I skew liberal. I grew up conservative.
Skew?
Skew. Yes,
you are full bore.
All right.
Bleeding heart liberal. Don't even lie.
That's what a conservative would say. Anyway, my goal, honestly, is to find conservatives to talk to, and keep things respectable. And what happens with politics with anybody, and happened in our last show, is an argument came up. And I don't think I don't think that's the best way to move forward. Yes, we're used to all sorts of things on the news right now where they're talking over each other and yelling at each other and stuff like that and laughing at each other and stuff like that. That's not how it's going to work, or it should work, because that means people's ears just close up. They don't want to hear what you have to say. That you people respect what you have to say more when everybody's contributing equally in a respectable manner. And so that's my goal. And I don't think anybody was being disrespectful in the last cast, but I think after 30 minutes, some differences started to come up where it's like, well, what do you think about this? And I don't feel like a politics show, believe it or not, should be about uh, the announcers having to disprove anything. In fact, I don't think it should be about anybody on the show having to disprove anything. Like, I just came up with something, show me where I'm wrong. Well, you know, that's something actually that should happen in a Discord. um, when you're on the show, it becomes a debate, and a debate is what can you pull out of your ass to sound better. There's a lot of fine details with anything with politics, and I'm not a politician, and I'm not hoping to interview that many politicians. Maybe we will, but I don't want this to be a confrontational kind of thing. So I think it's going to take some time to evolve, and I'd like actually you to be on the show eventually, because I think you have some good things to offer.
I I really, and it's not an excuse. I don't do politics anymore. And we did some political stuff on here and buttons got pushed and we had some really crappy shows because of it. So I was like, when you brought that up, I was like, I'm just going to sit this out because all it does is lead to contention and horrible shows. Let me share with you for 2 seconds why this is important. What Faz just told you about people talking over each other and the tension and the just of how intense people get. I am a huge fan and I absolutely love the Danny Jones podcast. It used to be called the Concrete Podcast. Danny Jones is amazing. And he gets these wild guests on there and talks the truth. And these are credible people. I just watched today, he just released a podcast today with a very famous, very good, very highly educated brain surgeon talking to one of the top lobbyists. And they were talking about that wonderful virus that encompassed the world. And I almost turned it off like 4 times because these two were going at each other's throats like you wouldn't believe. And it was almost unlistenable. That's how bad it was because people's passion and tension was so tight on this show. And then I thought back and I'm like, God, sometimes we do that on Faz Radio. And now I understand why people roll their eyes at us because that was awful. I love that podcast. I've watched every episode, but I almost couldn't get through this one. It was so bad. And this is with highly respectable doctor and a highly respectable politician slant lobbyist.
Well, that's because people aren't allowed to finish their points anymore. So here's the thing: if I were to bring on a brain surgeon, I'm not a brain surgeon. I'd want to hear all about what they think about brain surgery and tell me how the job is and so on. If I were to bring a flat earther on, I'd want to hear about all of the things that they describe the earth to be like. I don't think it's now, of course, when me and you go back and forth, like you might say some things, I might disagree. That's one way of seeing things. But when you get an expert on, or somebody who, well, a guest of any sort, the guest to me is the most important person. And the goal should be, what does the guest have to say? Let's make the guest look better. Um, And I don't think you look on any news program right now and they'll bring on like a senator or a congressman or something like that. And then they'll try to skewer this person. They'll try to make them say the wrong thing. I just want to hear what they have to say. Now, conservatives seem to like to use the words "you decide." Well, if I have a brain surgeon on the cast, you can't really say "you decide" unless you have policy show. That's a good idea. I can't really say "you decide" if you don't have any experience in brain surgery. And I don't think people should be encouraged to decide. I think people should be encouraged to just see what they have to say. And then the next week, you have another show about, I don't know, an anti-brain surgeon says, okay, I think brain surgery is the worst thing possible. Hear everything that they have to say. I don't think it should be presented to the audience that, okay, you're going to have to figure out the truth. No, both of them have a set of truth to tell you. Let's learn and see what they have to say. It might make some sense somewhere. So that's my goal for the show and for the politics show in particular. Yeah, a policy show. I just want to hear, what are you going to do? What's Trump going to do in the first 30 days, for example? That's good to know. I want to know when I look online, I get a list. Okay, he's going to do these things. And at the end of the year, we might grade him and say, well, he didn't get to all these things. And I might have some opinions. And I think if I have one opinion, if I have opinion that this is supposed to be that way, and you have an opinion that this is supposed to be that way, we both state our opinion, then we move on. It's like, well, I kind of think this. Well, I don't really buy that. Okay, now we've said it. Let's move on. It's not really the audience gets to decide whether it's Faz or Titan that was correct.
Well, when people do their research, I do think that's a big factor. And it was funny because this podcast, this Danny Jones show, I literally related it back to you and I, because this brain surgeon was trying to pin this guy down, and the lobbyist was very calm, very collected, and just kept saying, hold on, let me answer. And then he'd go on this long-winded rant. And the brain surgeon was like, I asked you a yes or no question. Why are you even talking? Just answer it yes or no. And I'm laughing. I'm like, that's what we used to do on this show when we disagree on a point. And so I realized, I'm like, God, this is like unwatchable, unlistenable. And I'm like, wow, that really put into perspective to me sometimes when you and I get into it, how stupid that is to do on a show.
All right, so let's move into our topic. We've wasted 13 minutes. I think we've gotten as much milk. We've milked it as much as possible.
It's never wasted when we're talking about cool shit like that, because
that's right. We are the cool shit.
The listeners have to listen to us ramble. And when we get into that stuff, now I understand fully after listening to it and going, God, I just want to shut this thing off. I understand way better. So thank you all for dealing with Faz over the years when we get into those.
Well, I think they're here to hear about quantum computing today.
Yes.
So here's the problem, and we've all known about this for a while. You've just forgotten. So Bitcoin is secure. Bitcoin is secure because you don't know the private key of somebody's wallet. Now, the way a private key works in a Bitcoin wallet is the private key is the actual address of the wallet. It's the actual location of the wallet. When you ask somebody's wallet address, what you're actually getting is like this public address. Like, okay, well, if you send money to this public address, we'll go look up the actual address and send it to that. So if you find out there is something called Faz Politics, there's only been, yeah. Anyway, so if you send something to somebody's Bitcoin wallet, it's going to go look up the actual address and send the money there. If you know the actual address of somebody's wallet, you could actually take everything out if you wanted to. So it's that hidden address, that public address, what we all really know about. So the hard part is this actual address is really long. And to guess this address would just take forever. Well, I think like 1,000 times the age of the universe, with current computing. So that's not going to happen, and so it's relatively secure. Well, quantum computer can go much faster, and I don't know if I want to go too much into how quantum computers work, but the short answer is it's kind of like going through a maze. If you're going to go through a maze and at the end of the maze you're going to find out the address of somebody's wallet, you've got to look at all these different possibilities and try them. You're going to try and send a little money here, send a little money there, and you're still not sending it to the right wallet. You got to go through all the possibilities. A quantum computer can go through all the maze pieces all at once. And so it gets there like 1,000 times faster than if you were to just go through the maze with a single point. Every time you got to an intersection in a maze, the quantum computer could send out another version of itself, and then another version of itself, and another version of itself. And you can figure out that wallet address, the real address, fairly quickly. Well, that sucks because that means people can get the money in your wallet. And that's a problem. Now, before you get all freaky with, I'll let you get a little bit more freaked out by this. So it turns out that we've been working on quantum computers for a little while, and Google has just announced this Willow chip. This Willow chip can do quantum computing, and it could do it with up to 105 qubits. That's some technical jargon, but the whole point is it supposedly could figure out problems a lot faster, and it could theoretically break a Bitcoin address pretty darn quickly. Now, it's not right now because you can't really write software for Google's quantum computers. They're just made for one task, which is, okay, prove that this dang thing works. But once you can write software, then you can eventually be able to break a Bitcoin wallet. So that's the sucky part. The big question is, are people going to use quantum to mine Bitcoin first and get it legally, or hack wallets? Well, okay, so yes, you could use it to hack wallets, but remember, there's a couple things that save us. So right now, the way that Google's quantum computer would still take thousands of years, not the 1,000 times the age of the universe, but it still take thousands of years to get one wallet. But now that they've really cracked some quantum computing, what are you laughing about?
I'm not laughing. I'm cringing. Oh. I'm waiting for my turn to talk about it.
Okay. I'll finish up and then you can go. You had this weird, really weird, like devious grin. Anyway, so right now the existing chip that they have can crack a Bitcoin address, but I think you have to have the right software, and it would take like 1,000 years or something. But there's some hope. The Bitcoin algorithm, in fact, the hash algorithm that keeps it secure, is actually, the way Bitcoin works. You can fork new coins, so you could make a fork of Bitcoin called Quantum Bitcoin, and then rename that Bitcoin, and then all the miners will switch over to that because Quantum Bitcoin is the more better, accurate one, or the more secure one. So the very fact that you can fork Bitcoin means, okay, we can just leave the other one behind. All those wallets can get hacked, but because those aren't the official Bitcoin anymore. Bitcoin is forked like 17 times already. So if you had like Satoshi, anybody who has some of the original wallets, they have money. They have their Bitcoins in older versions of the Bitcoin, older versions of Bitcoin that we don't consider the official fork anymore. So once they make a quantum algorithm for it, you'll be fine. Your coins will be safe on that new fork. Go ahead, Mr. whatever your name is.
So I'll start at the end. So it wasn't really a fork, it was a wallet, and it was a wallet.dat file. And that .dat file basically used the encryption for a 24-word seed phrase. That's the encryption level that those old wallets used. And the downside to that was if you left your hard drive going with that data on it, well, if you lost your hard drive, you lost your Bitcoin. With the quantum computing, it would take today, if they took this Google quantum chip and put it on, it would take 3 to 4 years before it would actually crack a Bitcoin address. Because what a lot of people don't realize is that and this goes for ETH too, by the way.
I heard it was like 1,000 years, but maybe you heard differently.
Yeah, I saw something a little different on Twitter, and I'll get to that in a minute. I'm going to cite some sources. The way that it works is that your public key is a derivative from that encryption to your private key. So all of you, if you go into your MetaMask, you can pull your private key and load your wallet onto another computer or another device. It will eventually, in between those 2 points, all that encryption scrambles everything, and it conflates one to the other. And they're saying that right now, about 3 to 4 years it would take to have a public address work its way back to a private key, which is huge because right now, with the regular computing power, it's about 30,000 years of regular computing power to get to that private key from a public key. So that's a huge difference. And wait, I'm going to cite my sources, and I'll even pull them up on screen for you if you'd like. There's 2 people that I did the research on for this. One is Jameson Lopp, who is a OG Bitcoiner and very famous in the Bitcoin community. And there's this other relatively unknown person, who might be Satoshi, named Adam Back. And Adam Back has been talking about this for a few years now. And with this release, he put out a statement, and that's where he said it'll take 3 to 4 years of quantum computing to take a Bitcoin address and turn it into a private key. He suggested that at this point, we should be starting to consider, for those of you in the Bitcoin community, a software upgrade to prevent that. And he actually cited in the white paper where Satoshi talked about the event of quantum computing actually happening. So he's suggesting that we get started on this right away and that we take and start putting those software patches in, which will elongate, I guess, the ability for that quantum computer to crack Bitcoin. I think that's probably accurate. Those 2 are very highly respected in the Bitcoin community. If they're not panicking and they're telling us we got 3 to 4 years, I'm not panicking yet either.
Well, I'm not. Fine. Yeah, it doesn't matter, in my opinion, if it's 1,000 years or a few years. The whole point is we're safe at the moment, and the plans are you fix Bitcoin by changing its security algo. And the question is, when would that fork happen? I think you'll probably hear if it's 3 to 4 years, then you're probably going to hear about a fork pretty darn quick. I feel like it's a different amount of time, but whatever the case is, a fork would fix it. That's the killer app part of any crypto, is the fact that you can fork it if there's a problem. Nobody loses their money. I guess the real question is how many people lose their money before the fork happens. You know, if the fork happens next week and I lose all the money in my wallet today, well, that's nice that it forked. I still lost my money.
So I'm going to talk about illegal stuff with you here, so don't shut me off. Faz and I were cryptologists, kind of, sort of. In the service. When we were in the Navy, that's how we met. And in order to get that encryption to that highest level, like the SHA-256 that they have today, in comparison, you had a tape back in the old days. This is back in the way old days before even Windows 3.11.
I might have to cut you off if you keep going with this.
No, I'm gonna be gentle with it. But in order to load the daily encryption, you had a tape that was about yay long. It was about 9 inches long. And it had a series of holes poked in it.
Let's get less technical here just say we had a key that we loaded at intervals.
Bear with me. I'm trying to give them an idea of how encryption works. So that 9-inch strip was unbreakable. Okay. With SHA-256, what NSA came out with the SHA-256 would be equivalent to taking that tape from like 9 inches to like 3 feet. So it's very difficult. With that 3-foot tape, that's why it takes today's computers 30,000 years or whatever the number is for today's computers to figure out that combination of holes punched to figure out that private key. What quantum computing does is if you picture that 3-foot tape, it segments it like Faz talked about, being able to do multiple things at once, and it breaks it into 6-inch sections all the way to 3 feet. And it begins solving those algorithms within that 6 inches. So it gets to the end way faster, which is why it can go from 30,000 years to 3 years that much faster. Encryption is only as good as the processing power it takes to solve that problem. And I think SHA-256 was anticipated to last 100 years. I think with quantum computing coming way quicker than we all thought it would, there is a little bit of panic in that, wow, we didn't think this would be here till like 2050 or 2060. And here we are in 2024, 25, and we're already starting to crack that edge. That's going to be a problem. So there is a little bit of urgency there. Yes, I do think there is.
Okay, so before you freak out from what he just said, actually, there's actually standard encryption that's much more complicated than even SHA-256. There's SHA-512, and then there's a whole new set of algorithms in the SHA-3 family that can hold things at bay pretty easily. That means
I didn't see that.
So that means that until quantum computing, or until there's a quantum Bitcoin, you can easily upgrade the security along lines that are fairly easy to implement by those who know what the hell they're doing, not us. Yes. So that's. I think it just shows that Bitcoin is going to be forking a lot in the next few years. Forking is normal. The last time Bitcoin forked that I'm aware of was in 2017 when, what was it? When Bitcoin, is it Bitcoin Classic? No, not, I'm thinking something different. There was, Bitcoin wanted to have a different like hashing thing. And there were some people who didn't want that, so they still used the old fork. But then there was a new fork, and the new fork became Bitcoin. But prior to that, it had forked like 7 different times, and they had done things like upgrade security and upgrade other parts of it. So it's just natural. It's just part of it. Now, it's worth mentioning that when Bitcoin forks, this is important. The U.S. government considers that to be an airdrop. So if Bitcoin becomes if they have a quantum Bitcoin, and if you have 1 Bitcoin, you now have 1 quantum Bitcoin, that's an airdrop. I would assume, unless you could make a case that you never plan to use the other one again, the old one again. So if you spend the old coins and the new coins, it's an airdrop. If you don't spend the old coins, you spend only the new coins, I think you could be okay. Ask your tax professional. But that's been a subject of contention, that the U.S. government has recognized forks as airdrops.
So that's important, because at one of the first shows we do every year is a tax show. So we'll do some research on that and come up with our best amateur amateur take on taxes, like we've done every year so far.
Yeah, basically our amateur take is, okay, these are some things that might be scary. Go talk to a tax professional about this. Go talk to a tax professional about that. Oh, and then while you're talking to them, talk about all the other stuff as well. But you got to know what to ask them.
So I want to put you on a ramble. Are you ready to ramble? All right. So, since we're talking about these potential forks, since we're talking about security, since we're talking about quantum computing, you've gone and given a great education to people over the years on how hardware wallets can help even add an additional layer of security onto things like wallet addresses. Specifically, since we've talked about several, we have the most experience with ledgers. Maybe walk people through fairly quickly how having that ledger double layer of security with that seed phrase can help them guard against having their private key exposed.
Okay, that's okay. So now we'll start at the beginning. So if you wanted to have a Bitcoin wallet right now, and you wanted to put some Bitcoin in, you can go to a Bitcoin Core's website, or you can go to a website and get a private key shown to you on your screen of a brand new Bitcoin wallet. Actually, all Bitcoin wallets actually exist already. It's just this mathematical concept, just like, all days of the week already exist. It just happens to be whether you're on the right day. So, but it'll give you it'll give you a private key. And then you could then take that private key and then use that to put money into. Great. You can make a wallet on MetaMask and you're ready to go. Well, that's pretty insecure. That's actually called a paper wallet. If you just know the key and you can just store things there. Great, because you'll get that on paper. And in fact, you could even hand that to somebody. You could make the key into a QR code, whatever, give it to somebody and say, hey, here's $25. And then they look at it. They have the private key. They can pull it out. That's great for like coupons or that's paper wallets have their uses. But I mean, if anybody looks at that key, they can get the $25. So you'd want to hide that key when you hand it to them. There's some hardware devices out there, though, that hide that key, because if you know that key, or if this key even gets typed out on a computer screen, somebody could write a virus to pull it out off of your computer, and then they'd have your money. So you don't want to know the key, and you don't want to even type this key on your computer anywhere, even to send stuff to it. Yeah, I have a paper wallet. In fact, I gave somebody years and years ago, like in 2019 when Bitcoin was at 3,500, I gave him like 0.027 Bitcoin, which I think is like a few $1,000s. It was like $100 back then. Anyway, you can get let me see if I can find one. Here's one. This is a Ledger. This isn't a Ledger Nano. This is a Ledger something. A Ledger X.
S.
Ledger S. Okay. So this Ledger S, you can connect to it. It's designed to hold those keys for you. And well, the way that it holds it is actually you like, hey, I want to set up a wallet on this thing, and then it never reveals you the key. But it'll give you a passphrase that'll help you get to the key. So if you know the passphrase, you could then program this thing up and get to where you could send stuff. Now you got to safeguard that passphrase too, because if they find that out and they know that it's a Ledger wallet, then they can eventually figure out the private key that way. So you get the passphrase, you hold that. But the important part is you're not typing a key into a computer. You're interacting with this thing and you're saying, hey, I want you to put $5 in my wallet. And it will. and you have to press buttons on here to actually make this thing work. Oh, look. So there's a password actually in order to get on there as well. So you got to press buttons to make it work. Great. If you don't know your key, this thing is the only thing that knows your key. You're set up. This thing is designed. This thing is better than using your computer. This is a computer, and it's designed to be hacked. This is the computer that you send the money to and from, and you have a little cable that you connect from your computer to this, and you say, put money in this wallet. Take money out of this wallet. People can intercept those messages of put money in this wallet and take money out, but they can't read the key. So that's what's nice and secure about these wallets.
The other part that we did this show probably 2 years ago, and we did the test on the show. You can even have a seed phrase that gets, if you, let's say you get your seed phrase compromised. I can't go to MetaMask, enter that seed phrase, or any of the other wallets, Trust Wallet or Exodus or anything like that. I can't enter that seed phrase in and get your Bitcoin, because there's that extra layer that the ledger has, the hardware wallet has, that won't let you interact with that without physically having that device, which is a huge, huge help when it comes to protecting your crypto.
Well, that seed phrase, though, I do want to say it does follow a certain standard. I forgot the name of that standard, but it follows a certain standard. So if you have a device that supports that standard, then having a ledger seed phrase will probably work on a ledger, but might not work on all hardware wallets out there. Also, there's different lengths of seed phrases. You can get a seed phrase with just 12 words on it. Some you can get with 24 words. And I don't know if there's longer, but they're different seed phrase standards, and you have to have devices that support it. The important part is you don't know the seed phrase. You're not going to type it in a computer. Somebody can't put a virus on your computer to find out your seed phrase. That device here that I type in my passkey or my passphrase, it's not gonna. This is what you want the bad guys to try and hack. In fact, this is designed to be working with a computer that's completely compromised. So you could have viruses all up and down on your computer trying to pull out your seed phrases, and this thing is designed to work with that. It's gonna filter all that stuff out. And it's just because really this is just a tiny computer with a couple commands. You can only really interact with it with these two buttons. There you go.
That's awesome, man. So I don't think, to kind of wrap this up and get to the really fun stuff with the year-end show, I really think...
Did you say something about that this is a year-end show?
Yes.
And that we're gonna have something? Okay.
We normally do a kick-ass year-end show. And so Faz sends a message out to us a little bit earlier. He's like, hey, I want to do quantum computing and Bitcoin. And I'm like, well, yeah, but it's the end of the year show. We gotta like reminisce about the cool stuff from this whole year. I do think quantum computing is going to be a thorn in the side. And CryptoView commented a little bit earlier, doesn't happen with XRP. It can, but I'm not going to argue with you at this point, CryptoView. We're just going to let that go. Quantum computing is a huge plus for a lot of things. But there are a few negatives, and crypto is one of those things, to where it could get to a point where things are going to get compromised or problems are going to happen.
Oh, I got something.
God damn it. Go ahead. You can't sit still.
Well, before you worry about your crypto wallet getting hacked, you need to worry about HTTPS getting hacked, getting into your bank site, and all sorts of banking transactions. Before you even worry about your Bitcoin, remember that your bank has to solve that problem before you do, because that means all these secure websites will no longer be secure. Just saying. That's
Look,
something we're leaving out. We're talking about, oh my God, what's it mean about my crypto wallet? Oh my God, what's it mean about world commerce? It will drive it to a fucking halt.
it will. And I use a password manager. I'm not going to tell you which one, but I use a password manager, and you can get up to like 50 characters if you wanted to, if the site will support it. Quantum computing will kill that in like 20 minutes. So you're absolutely right. Oh, hey, we have a friend that just finally popped in. Zorro! Welcome, my friend.
Hi, Zorro. Let's put you front and center. There you go, right in the middle.
We thought you like got sucked up by the
aliens.
Aliens that are coming down to New Jersey or something.
I'm sorry, guys. UFO apparently messed up my schedule today, and I got intervened by a UFO from New York.
Perfect. Well, you made the best part of the show because we're wrapping up the quantum computing, and we're going to go into Faz Radio 2024 here in a moment.
Wow, quantum computer?
Yeah, we talked all about it, and I know you're the expert on that, so you missed
quantum
it.
computing. You're the quantum programmer here.
That's a hot topic right now.
It is.
And if you watch our show for the past 40 minutes, you know all about it. We're gonna move on though to the year in review 2024.
I am so excited about this. And look, this is no BS. It's first on my list. I got my list up right here.
Right.
And it says 2024 highlights, and then I've got all my highlights listed on things we talked about that we can talk about.
Well, let me talk about the first thing before you start. Go ahead.
So number 1 on this list
is my house was hit with a tree at the very beginning of the year before any of those things happened. Oh, no. Okay. What's number 1?
No. And this is here. I'm gonna share this if I can. Can I share this? Let me see. Present screen.
Hi, Faz.
Share screen.
Hi, Zorro. What's up?
What's up, man?
I'm gonna visit Zorro in a couple weeks. We got to talk about where I'm going over to his part of the
I can't
world.
do it.
Yeah.
I can't do it. It won't.
And I won't be doing Faz Radio that week either. I think that's in about 2 weeks.
My text file will not share. I'm sorry. It's a text file.
Well, then you'll
number
just say it out loud.
As if on cue. Number 1 on the list for 2024, no shit, is Zorro joining us on Faz Radio. This has been a huge thing, not only for Faz Radio, but for the Faz Radio Discord.
Zorro has cleaned up the Discord. He went in just pistols shooting, fists swinging.
And not only that,
the band hammer flying.
We pick on him constantly for it. But listen, going all the way back years, all right, and I'm talking 2-3 years, anything that we did individually or collectively, Faz Radio, outside Faz Radio, whatever. When I started my company, he was the first person that signed up to learn more about my company. Zorro is a huge force in the crypto space, and I am honored and privileged to have him as a part of Faz Radio. So 2024's number 1 highlight is Zorro coming to Faz Radio as a regular. Thank you, Zorro.
Wow, Titan.
Thank you, Zorro.
Thank you. I feel
Congratulations.
cozy here. Thank you, guys, to give me this opportunity to be here.
Oh my God. We talk about it occasionally, not enough probably, about the cool people that we meet in this space and how things are developed to a deep level. And Zorro, you've been with us since almost like show 1. You were probably on like show 5. And you're like, what the fuck are these idiots doing? and you've stuck with us through thick and thin. You've always been there. You're always a positive force for whatever anybody is doing in this space. And that is a huge accomplishment.
Thank you.
And to have you come aboard and be a regular as part of the team on this show is like, for me, it's huge. I don't know about Faz, but for me, it's huge. So I appreciate it. I thank you. And it was my top highlight for 2024.
Should I remove my sunglasses, Titan?
It took Faz over a year to go on camera, so you got some time.
Well, yeah, I think so, but it is curious because I think you mentioned that before that I never, ever.
I've never seen you without your sunglasses.
Yeah,
I never have.
Yeah, I think that you and Faz will have that opportunity. Yeah,
that's awesome.
But that would be in a very very private moment.
Well, I'm hoping.
You're
muted.
Hoping you're muted.
Without his hat, too.
Yes.
I'm hoping. so
or you will be surprised.
We talked about it a little earlier, a couple shows ago. Well, actually, a lot of shows ago, that we might be doing some events this coming year, and we're hoping to be able to get to an event with Zorro this year, so that all three of us can be in the same spot, broadcasting to Faz Radio from one of these events. So hopefully that comes through.
I hope so. I think I'm pretty sure I'm gonna have a good response from that, and see, I'm willing to make everything possible to make that happen. Yes. Yeah. I think Faz Radio deserve that. You guys really deserve that. I don't know how many viewers or people. I think pretty much I never concentrate on that. Probably I'll never talk about that. But since day one, I think Faz Radio has been putting a very important show. Everything that you guys analyze and talk, I think is very important. And I know here in Faz Radio, you guys share amazing information as well. And I learned something now that I'm more close to you guys, that you guys are well knowledge people, and everything you guys say, I always learn that from you. When you guys talk about something is real, and that's what I love Faz Radio show, because it's a regular people that in life going through all these things and technology and emotions and all this information, and I think you guys put that out there. You guys are real people. You guys always talking about real stuff, and not not a shitty show that just sitting here and talking. Because I have to say that, because I used to watch many shows, and one of the things that attract me from Faz Radio, that the main reason was that you guys are so real. You're a real person, like with real situations, real problems, real thought, and that's good. And that's what people need right now.
Thank you very much, Zorro. We try and be authentic as possible.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. So moving on. Thank you, Mr. Zorro. I very much appreciate that. And I hope to keep things real, but with a better microphone. Do you notice I sound different?
Actually, it sounds pretty amazing.
All right.
It is good.
For Christmas.
Man, wow. Look at that.
We're going to fix my camera next.
That's a nice mic.
Yeah,
we're up to 50 minutes, and I'm trying to be the time cop here. So moving on.
All right, let's review. See how amazing this year was, and you're going to be blown away.
I want to start with the tree. The tree happened on January 8th, I think. and totally leveled the master bedroom in my house on the second floor, and I had to move out. Luckily, insurance was really good. They put us up in another house, and it took about 11 months to fix the house. So I've been broadcasting in exile, but I'm back now at the house. Everything's good. So for me, 2024 has been about moving around, and all my stuff was in storage. They had a storage place, and they give you furniture to live at this other house, which kind of sucks. But and they slowly fix this house. But a lot of crypto things have happened this year, and maybe even some non-crypto things that we could talk about, some political things. But so why don't you start with the crypto things on your list, Mr. Titan?
All right, let's go through. And you guys are going to be blown away because when I went through this list, I was like, God, it seems like it was like 5 years ago, and it wasn't. So in January, and I'm going to break my rule here. I told Faz a little bit earlier, I'm going to break my rule. I'm going to talk a little about Gala, unfortunately, because back at the beginning of 2024, we were still kind of pushed pretty deep into Gala. And so in January is when the Vox explosion happened. The Vox whole menagerie of, oh my God, there's nothing for Vox happened with Gala. And we did 2 shows on that Vox implosion and talked about what had happened, what we thought was going to happen, and where things were with the state of gaming with Gala. So that was just January of 2024.
Well, let me give my summary of Gala this year, in my opinion. And my summary is for Gala's kind of winding down. It had a lot of neat ideas. They wanted to capitalize on crypto gaming. They wanted to start something really big, and I think the bear market destroyed them. And they had to make a lot of cutbacks. And of course, they had all sorts of drama that you've heard about that I really don't want to get into. But they had a lot of drama and cutbacks, and now they seem almost a shadow of what they were trying to be, what they had advertised. And some projects have been canceled entirely. Like, well, Vox seems to still be kind of there in some form, but spider tanks. If you were into Gala, you bought a spider tank node and some spider tank tanks, and you played the game and you earned money. And about a month ago, then there came a message on Gala's website saying, "Hey, Gala's servers are now shutting down for spider tanks." So if you spent thousands of dollars for a spider tank node, it's gone. And now, of course, they're telling you that well, we're going to do something for you if you have a spider tank node, but it's not going to be for playing spider tanks. It's going to be something else entirely. And if Gala is a shadow of themselves, well, then I don't know what they really can do for you. So maybe you can chalk it up as a loss or something for your if you start cashing in some money you've made on crypto going up. But so yeah, that's really, I mean, I don't have much more to say about Gala other than it just seems to be just petering out. I'd be happy in a year to be able to say, hey, they're back and they're doing a lot more, and things are a lot better. Or maybe they've been sold to someone else and that someone else is doing a lot more with Gala stuff. I think that would really rejuvenate the Gala properties out there. But I mean, it's kind of turned into a snoozer now. So go ahead with your additional items, sir.
So we're going to move into February. And in February, we had a show about people panicking about NFTs. NFTs were in the dumper at that point. Everybody was fudding and being crazy about NFTs, saying they're gone, they're dead, they're never going to come back. And we did a fantastic show talking about the pros and the cons of NFTs and where that was going to go. And Faz, being the ultimate optimist, predicted that NFTs would never go away. They're going to make a comeback. but they're going to only make a comeback if they had utility. And we can go down a whole rabbit hole about this, but that's for another show. That was February. In March, and please jump in if you have comments along the way. We're going to go through all of these.
Hey, I am still making ZipBug NFTs. Just saying.
We haven't gotten to ZipBugs yet. Hang on. That's on my list.
Oh.
In March, Forged in Crypto, Mr. Nate himself bought a $1 million Star Atlas ship for the GG Collective. And that was the big news of March. And we had him on to talk about, was it 5 million?
It was a 5 million. Yeah.
And that was a big, big push. And Star Atlas isn't doing too terrible these days. They're actually, I've seen some stuff recently. Their gameplay isn't terrible. It's doing fairly well. But that was in March. That was the big news in March. In April, the veil around Gala continued to sink. In April, both the Mirandus and the Walking Dead teams were fired. They were just let go. And they outsourced that to another country. And those teams have still been building, although the results haven't shown a lot of progress. So it was kind of the crumbling continued over on the Gala side.
I have a comment there. Just a few months ago, Trump, or maybe last month, Trump had said, "Hey, if you have crypto that is located in the U.S. or whatever, then you will, get capital gains. You'll be forgiven from your capital gains." And there was some back and forth as to whether he said that, but apparently it's confirmed by Eric Trump later. Turns out, then we see a tweet from Benefactor of Gala Games saying, "Gala Games made in the USA." Of course, the unsaid part is, wait, what about all these people in Chile? And
right. So the beginning of April was this huge crash. Like everybody was going, "Oh shit, it's actually dead now." So at the end of April, Faz and I started to say, you know what? We need to be focusing on something that actually is worth something. Are you ready? That's when we built out the ZipBugs ecosystem. And we started having all of the ZipBug. I mean, we built the website, we built the game, the whole ecosystem around ZipBugs. And Faz was getting like 2 hours sleep a day when he's cranking out these ZipBugs, and he made like 5 more collections. And I was hollering at him. I'm like, dude, there's like 19 collections already. Why do you have to add 5 more? And he's cranking these ZipBugs out like there's no tomorrow. And it was fantastic. We totally built out that ZipBug ecosystem. Then came May. And in May, we ended up having Faz get on. Are you guys frozen or is it just me? No. All right.
We're just listening.
So
intently.
in May, Faz decided to try and reach out to the now former Berserker of Gala, Jason Allen Brink Jr. And he brought him on. I don't know. He brought him on because Brink had created this company called LFG. And Faz did a cast with him on what the hell is LFG anyway. And that was like the introduction to the new form that they had taken. And it was actually a fairly decent podcast. I was at an event that night, and I got back, I edited it, I put it out, and it was a good explainer on what he's trying to build over there at LFG. We moved into May, end of May. Then Congress decided they were going to take crypto by the reins, and the call for congressional action in crypto happened, and all these bills started piling up about crypto in Congress because everybody was tired of the SEC, and we did 2 in-depth shows that probably bored people to death about all this. There was probably like 6 or 7 pieces of like really heavy legislation around crypto that came out at the end of May. We got through those. We moved into June, and one of our favorite former Gala people, Bucks, had joined and become part of what's called Autonomy. And Autonomy launched their platform in a renewed fashion. Autonomy's been around for probably 12 years or so, but it never caught on. And Bucks had jumped over there and started Autonomy, and that has been rolling along since the beginning of June. At the end of June, we had the privilege, and I'm pretty sure that Faz probably like rubbed his nipples just a little bit when we got Justin Gary from SoulForge on as a guest. And it was one of Faz's favorite games. He was a fantastic guest. We talked about the ecosystem that he's building in a card building.
Magic the Gathering.
Yeah, Magic the Gathering. And that was a fantastic interview that we had. And he talked about how he's kind of transforming that, not so much in the crypto side. There's a little crypto element to it, but primarily as a card game within Magic the Gathering. We moved into June, and things started heating up really fast. In June, the Deep Network debuted. Nate came on the cast and talked about how he was building this fantastic Deep Network, which was going to be a decentralized, autonomous network that would run not only what he was doing already with NerdNode, but take it to a different level where people could create their own workloads on the Deep Network. And this was something that he had been planning for 3 or 4 years, finally came to fruition. He gathered the team, he gathered the resources, and talked about Deep for the first time. July started. And with July came what you see here now, the Faz Radio rebrand. We started talking about rebranding Faz Radio, stepping out of being boxed into 1 or 2 little segments and opening the whole network up to what we really wanted to talk about and evolve into. And that's when we started getting deep with Zorro. Zorro hadn't joined the cast yet, but Zorro had kind of backdoored us in the not gross way with, hey, let's talk about how you can improve what you're doing right now. And Faz and I were all ears. We started talking in the back channels, and we started rebranding. When August came about, we had the rebranding kind of put aside because the Ripple verdict came out. Finally, after 2.5 years of Ripple being embroiled in this huge thing with the SEC, it finally came out. The judge said XRP is not a security in itself. So that was a huge, huge moment. We did 2 huge shows on how that event took place. In September, we decided to go off the rails a little bit, right in the middle of that rebrand, and we did a couple of conspiracy shows. We talked moon landings, we talked aliens, we talked all kinds of goofy stuff. We had a show that I just deleted, by the way, because I had to make room on the Faz Radio server here. We did a show that was 2 hours and 20 minutes long, completely on conspiracies. We had people popping in and out of this thing. Zorro was there. CryptoView was there. I think Glitch was on there for a while. We had this like monster show. We did 2 back-to-back shows on conspiracies. End of September, the SEC was pushing hard. I mean, really hard on lawsuits. And Faz and I went through. Zorro just started kind of coming in at that point. We started talking lawsuits with SEC because they brought out like 5 lawsuits all at once, hammering all kinds of different people, trying to bring the hammer down. And so far, the defenses had held up on the crypto side. In October is when the bear market finally disappeared. We were starting to see some signs. Things were popping up. They weren't constantly losing. Dude, my portfolio looked like complete dog shit at that point.
The bear market, I'd say, started slowing down. Shit got real once the election started. But go ahead. Do your
I haven't gotten there
summary.
yet. It started heating up because it stopped losing money. My portfolio looked like dog shit in October. I was like, oh my God, what did I do with all this money? I'm doing nothing but losing here. Thankfully, I didn't sell and actually lose it. I held on to it, and we started moving towards the end of October. Things started to rise a little bit with the expectation of this election coming up. In November was the key. The election happened. There was a lot of positive crypto news, and crypto went through the roof, 100%. I can't believe the gains that we've had through November and December. In October, when Zorro joined us full time, we got to a point to where we were having some really intellectual, good shows. And bringing all this, as the markets went up, we were bringing what was hot, what was new, what was there for everybody in this space. Because it had been, God, almost 2 years of just stupidity in crypto. And we had complained multiple times about how NFTs were going to disappear and would crypto make it? And oh my God, there's no utility for any of this stuff. And people were building in the background.
Well, don't forget something. What else happened in November was deep nodes started shipping.
They did. And listen, I've got my deep node right behind my camera over here. I haven't unboxed it yet because I'm trying to make an unboxing video. And I keep forgetting to do it. And then the holidays came and my kids distracted me. And
you could be making money with your deep node right now.
Well, I haven't even opened the box yet. I want to do the open box. I want to do it like you did, what we did there. But at any rate, here we are at the end of December. Things are cooling off a little bit in the markets. The FOMO's over. The big run is over. And we're at that precipice right now where it's either going to go straight up or straight down. What do you guys think? Where is it going to go come January 1st?
Well, come January 1st or come January 20th, whatever day Trump gets in office, I think crypto is going to be steadily rising with brief interludes of like, holy shit, rocket time. Because Trump wants crypto to work, and he's put in a lot of people that want crypto to work. Now, I said before on the last couple episodes that I worry about his staying power. I think that he might have a personal interest, but I want to see how serious he is. And at the moment, I'm thinking once he leaves office, crypto might go down again because he's just gonna fan the flames I want to see some laws happen that will show that he's serious. If he can actually get laws happening, crypto is just gonna keep going up and up and up. Um, until then, I think we're gonna have a brief balloon that's going to last at least a couple years until it becomes apparent that Trump is doing something or not. If he's not doing something enough, it's going to start to deflate. If he is doing something, it's going to be the second booster of the rocket continuing to go on. And hopefully, it would be something that I really think the Democrats are going in office next after him. I think I think if he can make it to where crypto can't be dismantled by the Democrats, that would be nice. Uh, Crypto is really a different way of doing money that the world, and this is, I'm going to use a Trump word, a sentence that I'd rarely use, that the world has never seen. The world has never had a money, uh, actual, cash money that will be taken by anybody. You could say gold, but gold has always been kind of a store of value. We've tried to use it as cash, but there's problems with that. Um, Crypto is the first time this world has been able to see something like, something be tokenized in a way that anybody can accept it, and they can accept it immediately. There doesn't need to be big lengthy paper contracts. You could tokenize your house and then hand that token to somebody else, and then they have your house. The contract would be in the transfer of the coin. Now, of course, there's regulations and stuff like that, but the whole point is the value of these things, the value of anything can be tokenized and put on a ledger that anyone can read, is not controlled by a company. CryptoView is the best guess.
Yes.
So that's what I want to see with crypto is I want to see it live up to its promise, which is it can replace fiat money. It can replace nationalized money. I think nationalized money is always going to be there, just like store coupons are always there. You can get money off at Kroger or something if you use their coupons. Great. You can probably have some advantages if you use the US dollar. It might be better to transact with the US dollar with the US government and certain things in the United States. But there's a new type of value flying around that the dollar cannot compete with. It cannot compete with it because it's controlled by a nation. And people are going to try to control Bitcoin as well. They're going to try and corner the market. They're going to try and buy it all up. MicroStrategy is trying really hard, but whether they do it or not, Bitcoin is still going to be very useful, and it's again a type of value that we haven't seen before. So that's my very short-winded response. I could spend an entire podcast on this.
I think that if Donald Trump and this administration embrace really well and continue supporting the crypto market and all the developers related to this technology, I think we're going to do amazing. I think we're going to have a long bull run market. But as long they continue supporting these technologies, as long they continue understanding as well these technologies and learn as well from these technologies. And I think US need to be focused on that. And I think if Donald Trump and his group of expertise now that is more related to crypto is they're willing to go through the same stuff and learning that we the users has been doing for a couple of years already, I think they're going to be great. Hopefully, I will say I would expect at least the first 90 days of his of his work to see um, how far we're gonna end it up on this and all this uh, government. So I hope that the crypto community we continue with that support from them because we need it, and I think it is time is the best time right now to actually everybody work together, the government, the crypto community, all the developers, and I think it's gonna be a year of utility. This is the time to prove utility works for everything that these people want to try to create, and at the same time the government want to provide transparency and make all this happen.
Very good take. I'm out of ammo, guys. That was the
What?
year in review.
What? Well, all right. Those were our predictions for 2025. My take is that the stock market probably. I think the stock market's going to be inflated. Personally, being a non-conservative myself, I've seen. My opinion is that conservatives spend a lot of time with the market, focusing on hot air. Now, liberals don't, in my opinion, seem to be as concerned about the market. So I can't really say what their take would be on it. But but I don't know. I think there's going to be a lot of smoke and mirrors in the stock market for the next few years. I think that Trump's promises of changing things up are going to be drastic, and they're going to cause a realignment that's going to cause a lot of unemployment and reemployment, and people aren't going to be used to that. They're not going to know what to do. I think the stock market might go all over the place, but they're going to talk it up the entire time because they're doing something drastic. They want to show you how good it is, and so on. So I worry about how permanent the things that he's doing are going to be. That will have an effect on crypto. If a trade war starts or massive tariffs start, it will affect crypto. So while I think crypto is set up for success with all the regulations they want to do, third-party events are going to affect crypto's price dramatically, and crypto will continue to be very volatile during 2025.
Well, we'll get to that, I think, in 2025 with our predictions for the year. That would be a great show to put out what we think, 2025 is going to look like. But
it's going to be different.
I tend to agree with you on the market in general. What he does is I don't have a lot of faith in the fact that he's going to be able to get done everything that he said he wants to get done. And I think if it drags out too long, it's going to cause the market to crumble a little bit. But if he can get things done, which he should be able to do, having a full embodiment behind him, meaning Congress and the Senate, he should be able to get things done. If he can get things done, I think the economy improves. I think crypto improves. I think AI improves. Having consultants like he's lined up, I think is a very good thing. It's something that a lot of other presidents haven't put to the forefront by acknowledging and supporting and putting out the consultants that he has. It's going to make an impact. And I think overall, I think it's going to be a positive thing.
Do you see how I tricked Titan into talking about politics?
I see.
This is what I'm hoping for the Faz Politics show, is for people to give their opinions like this and not fight about it. He has his take, I have mine. They're equally as valid. Doesn't, in my opinion, need to be a you decide thing as much as what can you learn from each person. That's what I'm going to replace this you decide bullshit from. It's facts aren't right or wrong. They have a point of view, you have a point of view, and you can learn something from each point of view.
I agree. Yep.
I'm gonna learn you guys the proper way to think.
Maybe so. I have the Faz way of doing things. I have a Faz standard for how I evaluate things. Reproducibility, my man. Standards are a way to make the world go around.
Oh
People can't
God,
just
I
be
had
doing
to
everything.
open this, didn't I?
Now, see, no. Gotta respect my point of view. That's the Faz way. I'll respect yours.
Well, I
All
think
right.
people have to be paying attention a lot this year for 2025 as far politics. So it's very important. Normally, I guess people would have the tendency to just go away and say, "Nah, we're not going to talk about politics, and I don't want to be involved." But I think for all the people that is going to be watching this show, that is watching this show right now, I think it's very important for us to start looking into more into politics and make sure that these people that actually work for the people are doing the right things.
We need to keep up with the politics that are going to happen this next year. I think everybody can agree that there's going to be a lot of changes in the United States and the world, because the United States affects the world a lot. By the way, one crypto example is Putin has started to tell people that that Russia is now starting to transact with Bitcoin instead of with dollars. That's because the dollar has been a world standard since World War II, and you couldn't even do certain things unless you transacted in dollars. But strangely enough, Russia has also denied their citizens the ability to mine Bitcoin, which I find really interesting. So they want to use it, but not allow their citizens to mine it.
That's a very contradicted thing. But the real purpose of Bitcoin, of any cryptocurrency out there, is uh, that we need to use this. That's the first utility that you actually need from a cryptocurrency, is use it at what's intended to be used. You know, uh, people per- pe- people is using right now Bitcoin as a storage value, but I, the real purpose behind as well was to use it as a regular currency on the world. You know, once you use something constantly, obviously you will also pushing for utility of whatever technology you have out there. So, what's the first utility that any of these cryptocurrencies need to have, or these coins? Is the use of the users. We use it for everything. Same way that we have been using the fiat money for decades and centuries. Once the world learn how to understand this and and understand this principle, standard of, we need to use cryptocurrencies and we need to embrace these coins and use it, give it a real purpose in your regular life, then everything comes. And the first thing that is going to come is utility. And then this is the moment when you see all economy changing to the new economy, which is all digital. And I think is way better than any economy that we have.
Well, there's going to be a fight. There's going to be a fight because owning Bitcoin means that you're able to do yourself what only governments could do for you, which is hold value, in some sort of currency uh, that you own, that nobody can take away from you unless you wanted them to. Um, and there's going to be a fight. There's going to be a hashing out. How are banks going to relate to all this? If a government does support you having Bitcoin, how are they going to control the monetary system like they've done all through history? That's they've been doing it for so long. They're not going to just walk away from that. They're gonna find ways to get between you and your Bitcoin. Maybe part of it is you've got to hold your Bitcoin in a bank. I don't know, but anyway, we're going a bit long. I want to end this
Yeah.
up. I'm going to give the last word to Mr. Titan. Make it short, sir.
Thank you for a wonderful 2024. Faz Radio listeners, thank you. I appreciate you. All of us appreciate you, I think. And we're going to go into 2025 with a renewed sense of purpose, of vision, and of success. We're going to the moon with everything that we do. Push your limits, build, create, and become something awesome. Every one of us.